excited to go to BYU. I, me personally, I've never been up there before for a game. I've drove by the stadium, but I never have gone up there for a game. And I know our team will be excited to go up there and play. They have a really nice team. Coach Satake has done a very good Satake, excuse me, very good job with. They play extremely hard. They've got a really good quarterback, good offensive line, receivers that can win one-on-one catches, and I really like their linebackers on defense, especially like Thule and I don't want to say his name wrong, Pili or Pili. I like those two guys. They're really good players for them, and got a solid D line and secondary. It'll be a really nice challenge for us, but it'll be kind of neat to go out of conference at this point, right before the bye, and go play. So we're excited to get up there.
Coach, what's the mood of you guys right now after 3 losses and so many injuries and stuff? And how do you get these guys back and get the energy right?
I think the difference, Trey, in this year and last year when we went on a 3-game losing streak was the health of the team was a little bit better. We had won 4 instead of 3, before that. Our next game was Pine Bluff instead of BYU. There's some differences in the scheduling, differences in the health of the team. But I think we can go back on to we'd lost 3 in a row last year and ended up in the top 20 in the country and finished out strong. I think we're all disappointed. I don't know if it's just the losses but how we've played the last 2 weeks. I wouldn't put A&M in there. We made some mistakes there at the end of the A&M game in the second half, but the last 2 weeks we just haven't played well. Made some mistakes. I have to get better as coaches, but I think in a nutshell, it's we've lost 3 games and we need to stop. And I think our team understands that. I didn't feel after the game. I felt a lot of disappointment. I think I don't think there's any way we've lost the team or anything like that. I know that's not the question you're asking, but I feel real comfortable that we'll have a good week of practice and we'll be excited to go play and get our quarterback back and hopefully we'll be able to get Slusher back. Still up in the air right now.
With the quarterback situation, obviously you mentioned expecting to get KJ back. But given the way the game played out and everything, is Hornsby the backup quarterback now?
Yeah, I talked to Malik again. I kind of had a Monday meeting with him last week and won, and he certainly earned that spot on Saturday. And I just gave him his choice, whether he wanted to stay where he was as a 2 quarterback now, or whether he wanted to move to wide out, or whether he was interested in moving to corner. Obviously the team needs some defensive back help, and he'll have to explain, more than I can with him, but there was a big weight lifted off his back, I think, with the way that he performed. I think he validated, what he thought about himself as a quarterback and what the team did. And he wants to stay right there, be ready if needed at quarterback, and not necessarily do the wide receiver, quarterback, all that stuff. Just be ready when needed as a number 2 quarterback.
With Malik, you used him in some interesting packages early in the season, and then we hadn't seen him in the last couple of games. Just does his performance Saturday make you want to try some of those things again?
No, I don't think so. It didn't work. It didn't work for him. I think he wants to be a quarterback, and we were forcing him a little bit into needs. I think we felt like our needs were a little bit more at wide receiver than what they may be, and he wants to be a quarterback, and that's where we're going to play him. And I think because even at practice we took him away from that, and I don't think it helped him at practice. And I think he can become what we all think he can be at quarterback if we just leave him there. I gave him that choice, and that's what he chose. And I was happy that he did.
What made you decide to go to Reed Bauer at punter when you did? And do you think he's going to be your punter going forward?
We had struggled a little bit early in games punting the ball, and it had been a little bit of a consistent pattern. And we talked about it before the game, obviously after the game, after the Alabama game. And, some people perform different in games than what they do at practice. And honestly, Malik Hornsby is one of those guys. I know he's not a punter, but and so we started Max, and there's nothing wrong with Max. Max is a good punter. Had difficulty with the first punt, and we knew if that was the case that Reed would go in there because Reed did a nice job for us last year. And so, we'll stay with Reed as long as he's doing a nice job.
I know Kari and Jaden Johnson both got dinged up in the last game. Do you have any update on their status?
I don't. I don't know that Kari will be available. Jaden could be. We're not going to practice him today. Kari probably not. Jaden, I don't know. We're holding him today.
You said you sounded optimistic about Slusher. is he a guy you think he can be back at practice?
Oh, man. I had to talk with him this morning as well. I don't know. I mean, I thought he would be a little bit further along yesterday, to be perfectly honest with you, than what he was. So I don't know.
Coach, just back-to-back slow starts for y'all. I think you got down 28-0 against Alabama, 21-0 against Mississippi State. Is that going to be a focus this week for y'all to, get out to a quicker start on both sides of the ball?
We focused it last week too. It just didn't work, and I appreciate the question. I do, because it is a concern to us. It might be even to a taking the ball if we win the coin toss. We're such a defer team and things of that nature, because I like having the ball coming out of the third quarter, but the bottom line is I think we have to do a better job offensively on having our openers solid, concrete, practicing them over and over and over. And I know they changed a little bit with down and distance, but we have to have our 10 plays in there that we're going to run, and depending on down and distance, and get our kids to believe in those plays. We have to execute. I mean, I get it. And we do that, but I think we've got to make a stronger, concentrated effort on that. Defensively, we just have to make plays. And of course, last week was a little bit different because, we kicked the ball out of bounds. We have a 15-yard penalty on a back of the helmet penalty. We hurt ourselves. We've obviously got to be better at details as a staff, and that's myself. And but yes, to answer your question, we have to get out to, and we can't go in, at halftime down 1 week 21, and last week whatever it was 11. We just can't. We got to start faster.
And then at receiver, you guys gave some guys some more looks. Bryce Stevens had the touchdown. What do you think of those guys who haven't really played a whole lot this year that played last week?
Yeah, I was really proud of Bryce. I mean, it was a hard catch, tough catch. And I mean, really good throw. Hard, not an easy catch, let's say that. And did a really good job with that. We've got to get going a little bit more. I think we didn't play particularly well at wide receiver in some positions that we've got to figure out who possibly our third receiver is and things of that nature. And that could be a Bryce or even Jaden Wilson, somebody like that. I think we've got the talent. We just got to give more effort and play harder.
My question was going to be about the receivers too. Landers' targets have gone down the last 2-3 weeks. Yeah. Are you, as a whole, maybe struggling to beat man coverage, or what's happening with the receivers?
Well, I think, it's a complicated answer because sometimes you're open and you miss the throw. Sometimes you're open and you don't see him. Receivers are so different, Tom, because where they progress in the read and things of that nature. You know what I mean? But you also can target a guy, and in that he has to get open and he has to win that rep. Obviously, we're not doing one of those three, and I think Matt's a unbelievable talent. But to get to football, you got to get open, and all those things we just talked about have to happen. Last week going into the game, we had thinking with Cade being able, he's a good passer. I mean, as good as Malik played, I'm not for sure that Cade had really a chance, to be honest with you. He didn't play very much, and protection wasn't particularly good when he was in there. But he threw the ball well during the week, and we thought we could hand the ball off and make yards with our running backs, and then we could get, we needed to open up our offense and throw the football. And fortunately, with Malik, we were able to hit some long ones and some plays, and he did that with his arm and his feet. So long answer is we have to get better out there. But those three things had to happen, and we have to know we're going to those guys, and if they don't get open, they don't get open.
Your O-line has done such a good job at moving the line of scrimmage with the shorts, not converting the short plays. How do you process that? Like, I know you mentioned backside the other night, but what was going on?
We had a missed assignment, on the goal line, let the three technique go, and that was one of them. We've got to cover up the front side edge somehow, and that would be either with bringing in one of our wideouts to cover it up, or having 12 personnel have another tight end on the front side, because we had no chance on the 4th and 1 unless Malik just keeps it and then he walks in. But that wasn't in his read. It's about getting the right movement and getting the right back in there, and your best short yardage guy. And I felt like we ran high during those situations as well. Not necessarily on the 4th and 1, because there was no chance. I mean, they closed it down and there was no chance. But on the other ones, I felt like we need to understand we have to get the ball in there, both on up front and the running back. And I think we might need to get the ball outside in some of those situations as well, because everybody's piling in there on us. And I think the big answer is get somebody to handle the front side edge, a tight end or a wide receiver. You can still stay in that personnel as big as our wide receivers are, and then find the running back, find the line's got to move them. And then we need to. We tried on the 3rd and 1, a fake off of what we had been normally handing the ball to the offset back, and we just couldn't get open. And that was me. I said, "Hey, you got 2 plays here. Let's try to get a touchdown off of this play action." It just didn't work.
Sam, I guess just the last few weeks, what's kind of been your assessment of the red zone offense, and maybe what kind of things are y'all looking into to maybe able to punch it into the end zone a little bit more consistently?
Well, I think the good part of it is we have KJ as a runner. We've turned the ball over in the red zone. That's hurt us. I've always believed that if you can run the ball consistently in the red zone, that you're going to score, which we haven't done that on a consistent basis. And then I think we got to move the pocket a little bit more to get KJ out on the edge and give him a run pass option out there. And he's been good with that. And so obviously we need to score more touchdowns. And some of those are the reasons why we haven't, probably.
BYU has a pretty good quarterback in Jaron Hall. He takes good care of the ball. Just what do you see out of BYU's offense, and what may stay the same or change on how you guys play defense, maybe specifically with how you bring pressure this week?
Well, Hall's a really good quarterback. I like their offensive line. I think their 2 tackles are really good. I think they're all good. I like their 2 tackles. So I think they're really good. Obviously, Kingsley, the right tackle, I tried to recruit at Georgia and lost that battle. They're a little bit, they're all different personnel. They go empty, they've got Romney back, he was out for a while, and another receiver. So they're receivers, they're big. They throw a lot of one-on-one balls. But we can't, we're going to have to pressure him because I believe he'll pick us apart if we don't. We're going to have to stop the run, and then we've got to pressure him because if we don't, I think he's really good and a really accurate thrower, and his receivers are big. They're 6'2" and better.
This may be something or it may be nothing, but how different is it to have kind of this out of conference road trip, like in the middle of the season? You play these SEC games and then you're going out of conference to go to Utah for a non-conference game.
Well, in all the SEC places I've been, it's been abnormal. It's not normal. Normally it's an in-conference home game, but it's the schedule, and we're going to embrace it. But it's different. The great thing is it's not a night game. It's their homecoming and all those things, a whiteout and all that kind of stuff. But it's not a night game, so we're not going to get back at 7 or what. And we're off next week. We get a bye week. So if you're going to have one that goes up to Utah, this is the perfect weekend to have it.
Coach, obviously, you talked about getting after the quarterback a little more. I don't think you might have hit Rodgers like one time, I think.
I don't think so.
But with that defense you're running, you obviously got to catch the ones they're throwing to you. I mean, how much of a difference could that have been? You had 3 good opportunities, maybe
3
4.
great ones, Trey, and we just didn't get it done. That and not converting the short yardage plays made a big difference in the game. Even as bad as what I felt like we were playing, it could have, maybe sparked this or something of that nature, and certainly would have kept points off the board. If it was a situational football that just killed us, and the short yardage we didn't make, and then the opportunities to pick passes to keep points off the board because we were struggling, stopping the run basically. I mean, they threw it as well, but stopping a little shovel pass in the run with our defense, and it was the same defense that we've run, the last 3 years against them. We put a little bit of different line movements and things of that nature in this year that we thought would help us. Our backside end was getting cut out, which hurt us. We had him in a 4-eye, and we were getting cut out a lot, which hurt us because there was nobody in the cutback laying off the nose. But to answer your question, obviously it would have made a difference if we just hold on to a pick or 2.
Your thoughts on the line right now? I mean, there's been some untimely penalties. Obviously, you can't do anything with linebackers clapping, and you get calls for it. But you had the errant snap on the final drive there at Texas A&M, and are you pleased with the way they're playing? It is such a veteran bunch. You'd expect,
I'm pleased with the way they play. I'm not pleased with the details of what's going on. In other words, I think they played well together as a unit. But obviously, and I talked to Cody about it as well. I said, the snaps, the false starts, they have to stop. And I get it if you're going to have a false start on the road. I mean, I get that. But right now, until we start playing a little bit better, we can't afford anything that self-inflicted, and we're doing way too much of that. But I still think, and I thought we had played pretty well I don't think we played well last Saturday as a unit there.
Coach, Bumper said after the game that the defense has been, getting tired toward the ends of the game and they need to lock in on fundamentals. Is that something that you've seen as well?
We got a lot of guys having to play a lot of reps. Part of that is obviously we're not doing as well on offense. Part of it is they have to get off the field. And as Trey alluded to, with some opportunities to pick and things of that nature, they have to get off the field, fourth downs, things of that nature. But yeah, we're just not as deep right now as we were last year. Last year we brought back 19 super seniors. So you had an older group of guys that, had played, whether they were starters or not. And it's just a little bit different. And Bump's beat up too. I can see why he would say that, because he's out there fighting and clawing, and he's hurt, and not hurt enough not to play, but, aggravating some things that he can't do. And but yeah, I've noticed that as well. And I really don't know what to do about it unless, and the only thing we are taking care of some of them in practice. But we've got to go win on Saturday, and then that will help some of the tiredness, the ailments, and the week off will help it as well.
You said KJ being back this week. Has he been fully cleared at this point? And is it a normal week of practice for him?
Yes, it's a normal week. He can't get hit today would be that protocol, but he never gets hit anyway in practice, so he can go ahead and do his full thing today.
I meant to look this up. When you were at Oklahoma, did you ever play at Colorado, or have you ever played at elevation before? Is there anything different about those kind of games?
We did, and we really never talked about it. For us, we're going to hydrate. We're going to hydrate as much as possible. And we're going to watch our kids that have sickle cell closely. And after that, we're just going to go play the game.
Yeah, my question was about altitude too. Have you heard stories in the profession of teams that the altitude got them a little or anything?
Not really. I have heard stories about kids with the sickle cell trait that you really need to watch them. And we went over that this morning in our meeting as well. I've heard of people trying to get used to it and go up a day early and all those type things. In talking to some of the coaches that have played them and played up there, or some coaches that coached at BYU, they think as long as we hydrate and watch the kids with the sickle cell, we should be in good shape.
I watched Coach Kalani's post game from the Notre Dame game. He just seems really, really composed, focused, balanced guy. Have you come across him? Do you know him?
I have not. I have high respect for him. Just he, in the AFCA, all the coaches are on Zoom, and the things that he talks about when he speaks in the head coaches meetings, he's very, very intelligent. From everything I see, he's very, very positive. Obviously, he has a love for BYU, but I know this, that for him to get Kingsley to come back from Oregon to BYU, of course, Kingsley had to go on the transfer portal. I have high respect for Kingsley's family, and they love him. And so I would think that that's enough endorsement right there. I do believe, just like you said, Tom, he's a fine man, a hell of a football coach.
Coach, looks like Hudson Clark got to play some safety on Saturday. What do you think of that?
Well, we needed him to. He came up in the hole a few times, and 07, he ran hard, didn't he? And so might be out of position a little bit to come down in that A gap, but he was the best option that we had, and he plays. I'll tell you about Hudson Clark, you can count on him. He gonna be there. Now, he catch a little heck from the media, not media, from the fans and all this, but you can count on him, and you can do a lot with a guy that's loyal to the program, and you can count on him. He gonna be there every week, and so safety. corner, boundary safety. I love the kid, and he'll just get better and better. But come down in the A gap on that, that's probably not his forte all the time.